All right, welcome back to Flaccus Talks, a podcast, episode 267. Today on the show, the migrants in France are going crazy in the streets again. Then things escalate between Russia and Ukraine. We'll tell you why we think Lindsey Graham did it. Then after that, in Cringe of the Week, we have a working women section you're not going to want to miss. And last but not least, in Urban Decay, this graduate's grades were so bad you'll wonder how he a graduate. All this and more, it's Flaccus Talks, the podcast, episode 267, ranked the best news podcast of all time!
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words, but at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's Flaccus Talks, the podcast, featuring Richard Grabboy.
All right, one for one on the intro as always. Guys, we're feeling it. The cost of everything is going up. Gas, groceries, home repairs, you name it. And if you're a homeowner, you've probably thought to yourself, should I call American Financing and refinance to get out of this crazy credit card debt? And maybe you didn't do it because you have a really low mortgage rate. But listen, that low rate is not going to save you if you're drowning in credit card debt with those credit card interest rates reaching 25% or more. That's the math no one wants to face, but it's costing you thousands. Here's the truth. If you're making minimum payments, that debt will follow you for years. That's why people are calling American Financing, because they're saving their customers an average of $800 per month by using their equity to finally break free from credit card debt. You owe it to your family to see what's possible. With American Financing, there's no upfront fees, there's no pressure, and it costs you nothing to see how much you can save each month. And if you start today, you might be able to delay your next 2 mortgage payments. Call American Financing today at 866-889-8121. That's 866-889-8121, or go to americanfinancing.net/Fleccus. It's also linked in the description. Thank you to American Financing for sponsoring. Let's get into housekeeping. All right. Thank you to American Financing for sponsoring.
Thank you, American Financing.
Great sponsor. Very grateful for their sponsorship. All right. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Yeah, June.
We made it. It's June. Mm-hmm. All the gays are even gayer, doing stuff in the streets this time.
Yeah, and they really try to hog the month. They stagger their parades by city, so you get some gay content coming across your timeline pretty much every week.
I saw a lot of gay guys in like thongs twerking.
Yeah, I seek it out. I was searching for it.
Yeah.
I was like, where are they in thongs?
And then I was like, oh, it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
Because I'm just looking for it in the wild.
I was searching incidentally.
And then whenever there's a pride parade, there's always a like Christian preacher counter protest type thing. And then the gays go over to him and they really shake their ass and do disgusting stuff.
Satanic.
I always watch just to see what kind of bad things they're doing. And I actually saw this thing from N Wokeness on Twitter. 40% of the year is dedicated to gay shit.
LGBTQ plus, and then, here are some examples. The Aromantic Spectrum Awareness Week. LGBTQIA plus Health Awareness Week. So that's the diseases that they get in June. Then in March, they circle back. Transgender, asexuality, Day of Pink, which is opposite of homophobia. Day of Silence. They're quiet that day. That's a rare one. I guess we should cherish that one.
The only sound you hear is...
Day of Silence. You can keep that one. We like not hearing
Keep running that one.
Harvey Milk Day. The list goes on and on. But
then all of June, and then November is like Trans Visibility Month. So they have like multiple full months and then like a bunch of days every month in between.
Yeah. And imagine like someone who's really invested in it, their calendar, they really mark it up.
Yeah.
So
they're busy. And it makes sense because the country's doing so great. The economy's good. The gropey migrants don't exist. We can afford to have more public gay sex parties for the gays.
Yeah. Criminals aren't getting released on the street or anything or nothing like that.
It's all surplus.
But it does seem that the corporate side of things are getting a little less. They care less. They're doing less. Social media virtue signaling is down. I think everyone's worried about pulling a Bud Light or something. The fatigue is there for gay pride too.
Gay fatigue is on the rise. Yeah. We see here the logos from 24 versus 2025. Not everyone's doing it. I did see pretty much every sports team do some sort of gay pride month thing, though.
Isn't that weird? And then the sports teams are the ones holding the bag. The most masculine, the MLB, the NFL.
And like it's
guys who actually are athletic and strong, and then they're the bag holders for making the flag and
their
flag logo.
their viewership is all straight men.
Yeah.
So it's like the last group. If it's like the makeup company is like, all right, Vogue, okay.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I'm not even mad at that.
But it's like the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah. And then the Vogue, I think we made this point on the show, like the makeup companies, they want men to do makeup. They're trying to increase their total addressable market by 100%. You know, I get it. But the NFL, I do not.
Exactly. And then remember, Jaguar last year did a new gay ad where they had like the gay guys in the back sucking each other or whatever.
Something like that.
It was something along those lines. We have to play it again because it's not appropriate. And they had the new model of the car, and it did not go well marketing-wise. Can you read the results?
Yeah, Jaguar just had the most embarrassing sales month in automotive history, and Jaguar is betting everything on a radical reinvention targeting luxury electric buyers with vehicles priced above 100,000 pounds. The brand has a lot at stake, and I think they sold less cars than a small dealership. Only 49 new Jaguars were registered in Europe during April 2025. A catastrophic 97.5% drop from 1,900 and change units in April 24.
Then they go back to the board meeting and they go to the gay guy who presented the ad idea and said, didn't work.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't think it was because of me.
Yeah. There's no accountability in these soft ads, you know? And that's the thing too. Like a lot of them, like the Yankees tweet a pride flag and then they go, the social media manager goes, I did my job. Mm-hmm. But there's no accountability. There's no like, oh, here's what the metrics, here's what it brought, you know?
And you kind of have to go down on the sword. You have to go down with the ship in a way where it's like, oh yeah, we presented this new LGBT idea. We can't go back and say that didn't work. Let's scrap it and do more normal stuff. You have to go, well, if people aren't ready for it, we're not going to sacrifice our values. And then the company just goes like this.
At least we're on the right side of history. You know, there's like justification for
you're
why
about to be history.
Exactly. And like obviously the Yankees are going to survive, but it's just a weird fan alienation feeling that makes me a little less inclined.
Me too. All right, there is good news though. The R word is back. How a slur became renormalized.
Yeah, this is a CNN article, and look at the graphic. R slur. It's kind of like a new R slur. Yeah.
And we helped.
Yeah, we definitely played a part.
We're on the front line. We're not like the general in that fight, but you know, we're at least foot soldiers.
Oh yeah, I'd say colonel. I'd say upper ranks, you know.
It's a pleasure serving.
The foot soldiers are the people just saying retard to their friends in private.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are doing it. We're at least broadcasting retard.
We're broadcasting it, which is great. I might put that picture on the wall as like a victory, you know?
Good.
And
we're coming for the F slur next.
We're coming for the F slur next, and we need your guys' help. You need to be using the R slur. You need to be saying retarded. You need to be using the F slur. You need to be working your way up to the N word.
I know.
And if you don't feel comfortable saying it, throw it in some group chats casually. Use it with your friends.
Send a meme that has it written in it. You know, there are ways around it.
Yeah, we got to work our way up to that, and then once that is has the stigma removed, it's a bigger victory for free speech.
And then we're gonna invent a new word.
Yeah,
that's nuclear. Even worse.
Way worse. Okay, we have some more embarrassing news about Joe Biden. There was a Secret Service whistleblower, and listen to what he told Josh Hawley.
Listen, I'll tell you something that I haven't said before because it came from a Secret Service whistleblower this past year. I talked to so many of them after the attempted assassinations of President Trump. But this Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House.
Lost in the closet?
Crazy.
That's probably why Jim Carrey had to pretend to be him so many times.
All right.
And I know that sounds like a crazy idea, and you guys have heard me over and over say that the Biden bot got switched, and there's multiple iterations of Joe Biden. The real Biden died in the 90s, whatever. Trump shared something on Truth Social that reiterates that point.
He said, Trump shares wild conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was replaced by soulless, mindless clones. And then is this the post? This is what Trump shared? He said, there is no hashtag Joe Biden executed in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference.
And that's why the Biden bot, you know, he was kind of bad and glitchy.
Yeah, so...
And everyone goes, oh, he's old. It was the Biden bot not being able to move fast enough to pretend to be a real person.
Chinese tech in the Biden bot. The software didn't update.
So we're vindicated again, and that seemed like a dog whistle from the president to us.
Okay.
So pleasure
you.
serving with you, sir.
Thank you,
Mr.
Barron,
President.
for
Thank you,
mentioning.
Barron. And it's good to see that. And who knows? Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe Biden was cloned. Most important issue of America. That's our next little section here. We have a couple tweets and some stats about like what people are worried about or caring about. And first, we're going to talk about housing.
Yeah, so housing has slowed down. You guys know the mania happened. We've actually been kind of talking about it in bonus land a little bit, but the mania happened with basically a zero interest rate environment. Everybody wanted to buy a second house, do Airbnbs, over leverage. And then finally the music stopped as the Fed raised interest rates, as they should have, because housing costs got so out of control. And this kind of resulted in something weird. The median age of all home buyers is now 56 years old, up from 31 in 1981.
So now it's just like boomers giving houses to each other?
Boomers trading their mostly paid off houses, and then like some people who, got a nice bonus at work buying their first house. But that average age is a crazy, and just from 1980, right?
Yeah, very big difference. And like we've mentioned before on the show, the housing market is struggling. Rates can't really go down because the housing prices haven't been corrected yet. There hasn't been a correction.
Yeah.
So there was a hope that the higher rates would correct the housing prices, but the housing prices are kind of still staying at those 2020, 2021 levels.
Yeah, people are just asking. They're doing the same high asking prices, but inventories like piling up, in cities. People are just trying to not be the one who nukes the price. So inventory's piling up, transactions are way down. And here's another update. It said U.S. home sellers are sitting on $700 billion worth of listings, an all-time high from Redfin. There's a total of $698 billion worth of homes for sale in the U.S., up 20% from a year ago, and the highest dollar amount ever.
Wow. So that's not looking good. And when it comes to young people,
and the point is, there's you can rent a house for much cheaper than you can buy it now. Like the mortgage costs with these new interest rates, so people are hesitant and they don't want to drop their price, but you can find a rental equivalent for much lower. And that was the inverse in 2021 when it was zero interest rates, right?
Yep, very true. And when it comes to young people, what they care about, this kind of loops in. For young men, the most important issue is to be able to get a job to support a family. For young women, the most important issue is to be able to kill your baby.
Yeah. And this is something we've reiterated a long time, and I feel like people just need to really wake up because the more you're focused on abortion or something, the more people can kind of quietly take from you. And a lot of these trends are huge macroeconomic things that is what the political class is for, right? Like when you go back to how our government was initially set up, the political class is supposed to be like, okay, we need to look into our best interest for our things, look at things that normal everyday citizens, a normal everyday guy just goes to work, gets his paycheck, does his best to budget, spends what he can. And then it's someone above out there who's supposed to be like, okay, here's what we need to do. We're getting ripped off by this country, or these costs are too high. We need to do something to stimulate this sector. And instead, the political class, instead of looking out for the best interest of American, has been importing, a slave class and dangling abortion rights in front of women's heads.
And that was a great point you made. When you convince half of the population, the women, that the most important issue is abortion, they kind of don't care what the rest of your platform is. And then the rest of your platform is how you destroy the country.
Yeah.
So you get all the women to vote Democrat, and 2020 obviously was a stolen election, but if they had won in 2024 because of abortion, then you bring in all these other migrants and you ruin every other aspect of life. And you were able to do that because you got an emotional plea to the woman. They're going to take your abortion rights away. You got to vote for that. Yeah. And there's so many other things that are more important. And once you say, okay, I'll vote Democrat, if the Democrats won, it would have been country over. And both of those stats are interesting because they are both related to reproduction. Young men care about the economy because that's their chance to make money and provide for a family, to have a family.
Yeah.
And then women care about reproduction in a less good way where they don't want accountability and they want to be treated like they're 10 years old and don't have to be accountable for any of their actions.
Yep. And just to go back to how we started that section, the average age or the median age of all home buyers is 56. That number should, that's not a healthy country, That should be a blaring alarm bell that goes off and says, oh shit, we policymakers absolutely have to do something ASAP. We got to build more. We got to do X, Y, Z. It's crazy, and then it's actually further justification to import the third world because people aren't having kids, right? The native population isn't having kids. It's like, well, they can't afford a house.
Yeah.
So it's a spiral, and we need to get out of that death spiral.
And the kids that do make it to being born, they are addicted to content.
They're hooked on Miss Rachel.
Hello. Can you say mama? Hi. Hello. Hi.
Oh,
Hello.
he likes it. He snaps out of it.
Hello. Can you say mama? Mama.
So it's uppies for the babies.
Yeah, you get the point. These babies are they're nonverbal, right? But they are already forming parasocial relationships with Miss Rachel through YouTube, through streaming.
They're addicted to the content.
Yeah, it's not, hey, I'm addicted to some content too. I admit it, but my brain is mostly developed at this point, right?
Mostly, yeah. All right, let's get...
No points? You just cruising past this?
Yeah.
Haven't we covered before on the
We've
show?
covered it before.
Like...
it was more of like a joke almost of like, well, the babies that do make it, this is what they're up to. They're cooked.
Okay. But we've covered on the show before that these shows are kind of negatively affecting some babies. They get scared of things because they're scared on the show and stuff like that. But whatever.
All right, let's get to our next story that we mentioned in the intro. A bunch of riots in Paris.
Yeah.
We can kind of just play a B-roll style in the background. You can see here the Joan of Arc statue, and it's covered in people from who knows what shithole country.
Algerians, maybe. Africans, definitely sub-Saharans. And yeah, it's like a mostly migrant festivity. And I think they were trying to blame this on like a soccer game.
Yeah, some soccer team won, and they're saying it's that. I don't think it's that.
I mean, I think that's what started it, but then I think you just have low IQ migrants storming around.
Yeah, I think you have a bunch of them in the streets because of that, and then it becomes mob mentality, and then the worst of the worst start looting and lighting fires and doing all this shit.
Not a lot of Frenchmen in these videos, but we'll just play them in the background. Yeah, they're going crazy, and it's mostly minorities. Crazy.
Yeah. All right, we have our own migrant section to get into.
Yeah, we just wanted to cover that because they're like destroying the city. It's international, but we got our own problems here that we're going to focus on.
And we mentioned in the intro because it is newsworthy, but we don't really have much on it.
Yeah.
And kind of the same with the Ukraine-Russia stuff coming later. Lindsey Graham did it. That's pretty much all we're going to say.
Yeah.
All right, we have our own migrant issue. We had a terrorist attack from an illegal.
Yeah.
And he firebombed like a Jewish person.
Yep. Here's some video of it. I'm sure most of you saw it.
He did a Molotov cocktail type thing. Mm-hmm. You thank Joe Biden for that?
Yeah, no, he was a Biden-era illegal immigrant, and here he is, and his name is Mohammed Soliman. Boulder attacker Mohammed Soliman is confirmed an illegal immigrant from Egypt, entered the U.S. under the Biden years and overstayed his visa.
So, unfortunately, I think this is going to happen more and more. Like, you're going to be seeing a lot of these radicals that got here the last few years, and they have a little mission to do, and then they do it.
They're part of a third world blood feud that has nothing to do with the United States, but because some politicians let them in, and instead of working on affordability of homes, now we got Mohammed Soliman throwing Molotov cocktails at elderly Jewish people in America, right?
Because girls voted for Democrats because of abortion.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you need to be able to get an abortion, which you literally can still get everywhere.
Yeah.
And now this happens because you got tricked and got emotional and thought abortion was going away.
Yeah, and the more people we import from the different parts of the country, obviously that's kind of stopped at this point now, but there's a lot of holdovers, and we were calling this from the beginning before Trump got reelected is like this, there's a long wick on some of these people. And they don't go crazy right away, but if they're here illegally and they have ulterior motives, there's going to be reason to. There's going to be a third world ethnic flare-up that they have to get involved in, and then all of a sudden the streets of any town USA are much less safe.
So true.
And well, we don't need Mohammeds. We don't need Mohammeds. Pretty much period, right?
Pretty much period. And speaking of one of those stupid women who voted for abortion, they were doing an interview at Martha's Vineyard, where I believe ICE is detaining some people in Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard area. And listen to what this lady says about it.
I think it could be any of us next. Martha's Vineyard resident Jane Catch held a sign yesterday at the Vineyard Haven terminal warning visitors.
The island has a history of supporting people who are different, supporting immigrants. Everyone in this country is entitled to due process, whether they have paperwork or they don't.
Yeah, could be any one of us.
Could be you, Jane. You're fourth generation American.
Yeah,
you inherited your mother's house on a stepped up cost basis. It's worth 3.2 right now.
Exactly. You have like a house in Martha's Vineyard that's worth millions that you probably inherited like from 4 generations ago. You're going to be okay.
And you should. We're not arguing against inheritance. Your parents,
that's great.
Your
Congrats.
parents got it. Yeah, stick to it. Another thing with, I don't want to bash women too much, but something that stands out to me is that these older women and these leftist women are always the ones of videos you see stepping in front of ICE, disrupting a federal investigation. It's all these women. You never see a construction worker out there going, no one's illegal. You never see a paver, a guy who paves the streets, blue collar guys, because they're the ones who are competing with illegal immigrant labor and they don't have much sympathy. The woman who inherited the house and spends her days kayaking on Martha's Vineyard, yeah, she'll take up the cause because she has some sort of psychological thing, a white savior complex.
Yeah, she's summering in Vineyard Haven.
Yeah, exactly. But the people who are actually affected, I just heard Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, he mentioned something about immigration, and he said that the bottom 20% of Americans for the last 20 years have had zero wage growth because of immigration. And so maybe that's why you don't see a lot of blue collar or, some lower wage guys, laborers. They're not really fighting for illegals to come so that they compete with the entire world for a job that somebody else will do for cheaper, right?
So true.
So Martha's Vineyard liberals,
Yeah, the worst of the worst. I'll be there later this summer, and I'm going to have a talk with some of them.
Okay. Yeah, you could probably find her. Not that you're going to do anything.
In a pleasant way.
You can cook her.
And then we do have an interesting story that is actually more positive. A court halted his deportation. The Trump administration deported him 28 minutes later. Some sob story from Politico.
Yeah. The Trump administration has admitted that it improperly deported another immigrant in violation of a court order. The 4th known case in which the administration deported someone erroneously or in breach of a specific legal requirement. And it goes on to say the guy's name. We don't really have to worry about the details.
But it's good to see a mistake go our way.
And then in court papers this week, officials blamed a confluence of administrative errors. So it's like a genuine mistake. He got his deportation halted, and we deported him anyway.
Oops.
Yeah. That, like you said, it's good to see one go our way. How many times was like, oh, Biden accidentally released an illegal after this? And it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And now the accident is getting an illegal out. And I don't really care. I don't have the bandwidth to be like, oh, well, actually, the due process and a court order, and that was valid. I've seen so many mistakes the other way.
Yeah, remember? Oh, it was 150,000 new jobs this month. Oh.
Whoops.
Whoops, we made a mistake. It's actually, we lost 25,000, and we tell you a month later in a small article that no one reads.
Exactly. So it's some uplifting gold in terms of having the mistakes the government makes these days are they deported somebody. It's not, oh, we let in these people who actually showed up on a flag background check. It turns out they're on a watch list, or, oh, we accidentally gave too much money to this USAID fund. We accidentally got an illegal immigrant out of the country. Mm-hmm. So it feels good. We were a little too black-pilled last week on immigration, and I just want to highlight a feel-good story.
And we do have an immigration win, a deportation decision going our way as well.
From the U.S. Supreme Court, the president has notched a win a moment ago. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to revoke the temporary legal status for hundreds of thousands of immigrants. Now, they come from 4 countries, Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua. They came into the country through an app that was established during the Biden presidency years. And for the moment, it appears that the Trump team they've made it their objective to deport those who came in illegally. This would be a win for the administration.
Good. Finally, a win.
Yeah, and that Trump, they were granted temporary protected status through an app, the CBP-1 app. You guys remember, it's like the worst countries, Cuba, whatever, but the Venezuelans and the Haitians, the temporary protected status Haitians are the ones who got dumped into Springfield. They were brought in because Joe Biden just said, bring them in, or someone in his administration. And now it's being reversed by a president going, get them out. And the fact that Trump was even halted at the beginning of that is crazy, because if a president wasn't halted when he said, bring them in, then how could you halt him when it was bring them out? So good ruling there from the Supreme Court. And there were, I think, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people, potentially millions in that program.
Yeah, which is great. And I want to cook here for a sec. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Remember last episode we talked about how Stephen Miller was really mad and he wants the numbers of deportations to be upped to 3,000 a day?
Yes.
And then we did the math, and like 3,000 a day ends up being roughly 1 million a year. There's 50 million illegals here. Joe Biden brought in 20 million illegals. You're talking 50 years if you get them all. And also we bring in 1 million legal a year. So we're not really it's not going to work numbers wise.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, Joe Biden brings in 20 million in 4 years, and all those people took planes, trains, buses, cars all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
So moving 20 million people throughout the country is doable.
It's possible.
And then why was it doable? They all had to do paperwork too. Why was it doable? Because of NGOs.
Yes.
But obviously the NGOs only go one way, even though ironically they're funded by USAID, oftentimes our tax dollars.
Yep.
So we paid for them to bring in all these third worlders, and they don't go the other way. So I was thinking, what if we created ICE NGO reverse de-immigrating people?
A get them out NGO.
A get them out NGO. You go to someone's door and say, hey, ICE has you on a list. They're going to raid you in the next couple days. You can leave now and take all your stuff, and we'll facilitate, and we can freeze the ICE thing for 24 hours. You just need to leave in the next 48 hours with all your stuff.
I'm with you.
Here's
there.
a $500 voucher. Here's a $300 voucher. Here's $100.
Use some of the money earmarked for USAID to get them out. Yeah, I'm on board.
And then you have NGOs who like front run ICE. And it's like, hey, instead of having us bust your door down and like scaring your kids, why don't you all just get out of here on Friday after work?
We got you a bus ticket to Juarez. Let's go. It's
So
a Greyhound. Air
reverse-
conditioning. You can control the air conditioning right above you. No handcuffs.
Reverse NGOs is my idea, because that was how they worked the first time. They all did paperwork. They all took a bus. It's like you moved 20 million people. Now you can only move 1 million people.
We forgot how to do it. Yeah, we can't.
Doesn't make sense. Other good news immigration-wise, the fentanyl sees the border's gone down. Washington Post seems to be perplexed as to how that happened.
The mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border.
Mysterious?
Didn't we like threaten China? And isn't there a fentanyl-specific tariff?
There's a fentanyl-specific tariff. We threatened China, and there's like a 98% border decline in arrivals.
How could this happen?
The Washington Post.
The journalists. They're journalists. They're supposed to investigate and ask questions. How could this happen?
But we haven't gotten, obviously, everybody yet. This next clip is Game and Wildlife, whatever they're called.
Game wardens.
Game wardens dealing with poachers who are Asian and don't follow our rules.
Everybody come show me their license, okay? Nobody else leaves. Who's back? We're back? No. The Matos? Yeah, Matos. I think it's here. You guys trying to hide the muscles? No. Come on. Illegal. And did I see your license? No snails, no crabs, okay? All right, you guys have any snails? Nope. No snails? No. Anything in the bucket? Any crabs? What's in the cooler? It's Giota. Okay, show me. Hey, you guys. I need to check your catch. Wait right there for 1 second. I thought you said no snails.
What's that?
No snails.
It's mine. It's mine.
No, only this is mine. Hey guys, who caught the snail? It was in this cooler, so who caught it?
No.
So, and they come from China, and they don't really follow the rules.
Yeah.
They do what the Chinese do with the ocean, and they just take all fish now, leave nothing for future generations.
Yeah, and the United States, like Fish and Wildlife, we're kind of like the forefront, the world leader on conservation. And then we're going to throw away like many, many decades of good conservation. And like, you know, we overhunted the buffalo and did certain things. And then we kind of go, whoa, beavers. Beavers went way down. The American chestnut, we lost it. That was because disease. But like, we kind of circled back and then said, okay, now we have some good rules. And we're just letting in people who don't care, don't respect it. They're eating the snails, mussels.
They eat oily bait fish. They don't even get it. Oh, you catch it, you eat it. Yeah, you put it in the pot, it cooks.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that the Hmong, Hmong, the Hmong community is big poachers. So I need to pull that thread a little more. I need to get more specific and targeted in who I'm blaming for this. But yeah, they slurp it up. And then
they lie to your face.
They casually lie and they go, I thought you said there's no snails in here. And he goes, oh no, like this. So, we need to be finding these people and really starting a record and then have escalating penalties because these are the type of people who, if they lie to your face, they laugh, they're going to slurp up the snails.
They're slurping it all up.
And they'll come back and do it and they'll get smarter and do it. So you need to have escalating penalties for foreigners.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then we do have another quote from Stephen Miller. We mentioned last time he had a meeting with DHS and he was telling everyone how mad he is. Can you read what he said this time?
Yeah, this is another quote that came from the meeting. Stephen Miller came in there and eviscerated everyone. Quote, you guys aren't doing a good job. You're horrible leaders. He just ripped into everybody, said one official. Stephen Miller wants everybody arrested. Why aren't you at Home Depot? Why aren't you at 7-Eleven?
That's so good.
Yeah, so there's hope.
There is hope. I like Stephen Miller a lot. And then we had this other quote from this woman. I think it was from the New York Times.
This was an article about someone in like rural Montana, and it was an Asian woman who went to their church. And I'm pretty sure it was Montana. I don't remember specifically. The quote says, I voted for Donald Trump, and so did practically everyone here. But no one voted to deport moms.
Yeah, you did.
I did. You did. Moms are the worst. They're the ones who have the anchor babies.
Yeah. And you made a great point on Twitter, too. They were like, oh, we caught this fentanyl dealer. And it's like, okay, that's great. Start catching everyday guy, normal people.
Yeah. ICE or the White House or whoever posts like, got caught, child sexual predator, Emilio, whatever. And I'm not satisfied until they catch someone who say like, Maria Gonzalez, crime, she tried to have 3 kids here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's everyday people. Like, you have to get out, right?
Yep. And then there is a tweet that I just wanted to bring up to remind you guys.
And hold on, back to that too. The media has been for 10 years attempting to frame this Trump regret voter, This sort of like, I didn't think he would do this. I didn't think the guy who was talking about tariffs for 20 years was going to do tariffs. I didn't think they were going to deport illegal immigrants. They really the media loves that regretful Trump voter, and I think they're so astroturfed and barely exist.
Yeah.
And they got to find someone who is actually friends with someone who, and then that's the thing too. These women are friends with someone who's in their church, a member of their church, and it's like, yeah, I was friends with Betsy or whatever the Asian lady picked her American name as. I was friends with her. And it's like, yeah, you didn't know she was illegal. You didn't know she was hiding it and cheated on this form or overstayed this visa. And so, yeah, of course, I get it. You're shocked. She was so nice. But she's illegal. Mm-hmm. And everybody goes.
Have to go. And then I just wanted to bring this up. It's an old tweet, but it's good to revisit. Can you read it?
It says, diversity is such a strength that it requires 24/7 propaganda to remind us and a police state to enforce it.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, we're finishing up our migrant section. First, I saw this article from the New York Post, and we know the New York Post does euphemisms for black crime. Mm-hmm. Angry teen stabs old lady or whatever.
Disgruntled strap hanger murders 4.
Yeah. And now they're doing euphemisms for migrants, it looks like.
It says touch starvation is an epidemic among this age group. Here's what parents should be doing about it, experts urge.
Touch starvation. Oh, the gropey migrants that are incompatible third worlders, they have touch starvation. That's why they're touching your legs on the train.
That age group, 30-year-old migrants who just got here. And it wasn't about that. It was about
It wasn't. I just wanted to make a joke.
Yep.
But let's go abroad to where some migrants are dealing with this touch starvation. This is a very sad video. This is in Germany, and some non-Germans grabbed a German girl.
I believe they're Syrians.
الله أكبر هاي أكبر هدية السلام عليكم هاي شنو؟
خذ هاي هدية مني لك هاي عمل لك زفت الرويمن
يا أخو الذبحة عالرقة
Yep, and then
I think they were saying take her to Raqqa, like a city in Syria. So, you know.
And then we have a graph here of sexual assaults compared to immigration in Germany. And it's correlation, baby.
Very similar, very similar. We might not know causation, but the correlation is there.
Correlation is definitely there. And then in Australia, a migrant attacked someone with a machete. And then there was a huge protest, and they were saying, don't ban machetes, ban some other things. Can you read their...
Yeah, I'll read this phrase. Ban, not machetes.
Ban ends, not machetes.
Yeah, and that's a militant-looking group of young men.
It's a militant Australian group. I don't know how it works over there, but people are frustrated. Yeah, you start taking everyone's rights away because of the behavior of the third worlders, and then you don't enforce the laws on the third worlders, and now it's no one can have a machete, no one can have a knife, and that's what they're doing in England too. But there is good news. Some white people are forcing their culture onto third worlders instead of the other way around. This guy plays the bagpipes in India.
Holy shit.
Pleasure serving with you, brother.
That's a pipe zone.
Yeah, better than shitting on the beach or whatever they do.
Okay, there you go.
All right, let's move on. We are now out of our migrant section, and we're moving on to the Russia-Ukraine situation. We have a couple clips here. Basically, the broad picture, the once-over, is Ukraine did Operation Spiderweb, where they destroyed like a third of Russia's airships.
Yeah, sure. The airfields, they were attacking military assets with unmanned drones.
And this first one is like a nuclear-capable plane.
Yeah.
Massive plane, massive bomber. And we'll show you the zoom in as it comes in. This is a drone that when it makes contact, it blows up.
Yeah, and apparently Russia has just 47 of these. It's a Tu-95 nuclear bomber. And, you know, so the main point Fleckis is trying to make is it was a successful operation by Ukraine.
Yeah.
And here you can see it going in and targeting the fuel tanks before the camera disconnects and it explodes.
And we have a clip here of some more of the fallout. So all the planes are on fire and fucked up.
You see like an airfield that got, multiple aircraft hit. So Ukraine did a successful op late in this game.
And keep in mind, Lindsey Graham was there the day before.
Uh-oh.
So that kind of tells me what you need to know. And what do you think he was there for? He's going to meet with Zelensky to go eat some quesadillas?
I think there was some gay sex shit, some crazy shit. And then unmanned drone.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know. Broad strokes, I don't know much about this, but these escalating tensions and like retaliatory, like deeper inland attacks, and it's not like it's fighting at the front lines. It's like trying to send missiles into Kiev, and then the opposite. Kiev sending unmanned drones deeper into the airfield, and it's like you're kind of in this like war of attrition at this point, and you're going deeper into Russian territory. You don't think Russia's going to slap you back, so hopefully reason prevails, but it doesn't seem like a good gambit. Right
Russia's definitely going to escalate. And keep in mind, they tried to kill Putin already. Zelensky's a rat. Lindsey Graham is a rat, too, working behind Trump's back. They really want World War III. The bad guys really want World War III, and they really want Russia, one of the last white, homogenous Christian nations on the planet.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't forget that.
I don't know. It's not good.
All right, we're moving on to our final page of housekeeping. Use the opportunity to go and help us juice the post, like, comment, all the stuff. P.O. Box, you guys know what to do.
Easy.
Don't make me say it.
Yep.
All right, it is the summer, so it's kind of, could this be Jaws season? There's a 20-foot great white shark off of Block Island. That's scary.
Does Billy Joel sing about Block Island?
Cruising Block Island Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Downeaster Alexa.
Downeaster Alexa, not much island left for islanders like me.
Hi-yo.
All right, that was good.
20-foot shark They're out there.
They're out there, and it's the summer, and you know what Jaws was about.
Head on a swivel.
Billy Joel actually got a heart issue from maybe the vaccine.
Yeah, I saw that he had to cancel some tour dates.
He had to cancel some tour dates.
Well, that's a shame.
He's from Oyster Bay.
Get well soon.
Yeah, we like you, Billy Joel.
Yeah. He's a certain piece of Americana. He's a certain type of guy.
Yeah, and he married Christy Brinkley, I think.
Yeah, he's a certain type of musician, and then he's also a certain type of guy who just married way out of his league and just kept swinging away.
But then, respectfully, his kids look exactly like him, and their mom is Christy Brinkley, and their kids look exactly. Well, respectfully.
Sometimes you get the wrong end of it.
Respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully, Billy.
Strong genes, Billy.
Yeah.
All right, next I saw this and thought it was funny.
Product idea: add nicotine to this, and it's Big League Chew. And isn't that what Big League Chew is based off of? Chew, Redman. So they kind of did.
They could just do it.
And make it bubblegum flavor? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I would partake in something like that.
All right, cool.
Speaking of enhancements, can you read that next thing?
James Magnuson looks unrecognizable after preparing for the enhanced games. Contests are encouraged to use performance-enhancing drugs to break world records. If they break a record, they get $1 million. And this guy's looking fucking juiced.
Dude, I think this was my idea.
No, we just thought about it early. We saw it, and then we said, I like that. I want to see it.
I could have sworn I one time said, like, let them juice and see how far you can hit a baseball, really.
I think that was us after reporting on enhanced games. Like, you didn't just come up with that. Yeah.
I thought of it, and then they stole my idea.
No, you're confusing yourself. You stole their idea, and then later, months later, with limited brain function, you thought it was your idea. So
my Mandela affected myself.
Quite the opposite. Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's good to do the enhanced games because then you can let kids grow up to want to be juiced guys like that because their T levels are so low anyway that they can grow up and aspire to be juiced to the gills.
I don't know about that. That's like kind of the one thing that's the one negative.
Oh. All right. Maybe not.
I don't think we want to encourage. Kids, guys, I don't know if you've noticed. If you go to a gym, there are like 18, 19-year-olds on Tren and D-ball and like whatever. I don't even know the right words for it. Kids are getting into like doing a cycle of some kind really early.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I don't know. That's the only negative of the enhanced games.
All right. Well, speaking of enhanced games, we had some enhanced games ourselves. Richard Rapoy and I did the reflex test, and we have both of our results. Just so everyone knows. We did one warm-up just to see how the machine works, and this is our second rep.
Ready? Yep, filming.
All right, this counts.
Okay.
Hardest level.
3, 2, 1, go.
2 hands, though. All right, I'm not picking that up.
I did all 5.
There you go.
And then Richard's turn.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, come on, Cherry. Get the fuck out of here. Yep. This is slower than it was, right?
No. That did look slower. You had an easier one.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so that was us, guys.
But
Pretty
you
cool.
used 2 hands.
I think you can. You can't use one hand.
You used 2 hands and were crouched as low as you could go.
So do you?
So I'm confronting you.
Would
right
you
now.
use one hand and then hold all 5 in one hand?
I think you go like this.
And
I
you
don't know.
drop them after you catch it. I've seen people do 2 hands. I got all 5.
Okay.
All right. Our next clip is just important for you guys, for your mental models. You'll see when you see it. It's a puff adder.
Yes.
Oh. All right, that's good. So we didn't know snakes could jump like this. So we all need to be recalibrating our venomous snake strike distances in our brains.
Okay.
After seeing that.
For sure.
Because I would have assumed I was safe, and that thing jumps like that. We all need to adjust and recalibrate.
I gotcha.
Okay, next, I think this is a video you put in.
This is you. This is your POV.
Is there any more of that bomb potato salad?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Whereabouts? Over there?
Yeah.
Nice.
You sick fuck! What did you do? What the fuck?
It's just it's like a stomach thing that I.
Get the fuck out of my
It's just
house.
like a stomach.
I don't give a shit.
Oh my! I'm so sorry.
You think it's funny to show stuff like that?
That's what you do. You can't blame me for the final page of housekeeping. You run this. You know that.
All right, that's a good point. I didn't realize that was in there. I think it was Rat Boy's idea. We don't higher brow than that.
All right, let's go.
Show farts, not good.
Let's go.
All right, husband is having the drink of summer with date night dinner. Diet Coke with lemon.
There you go.
I almost botched it.
I know you can't read. You can't read good.
Okay, I have some couple random cooks here. No big deal. I just finished 50 days of keto. This is day 50 of 50 days of keto. I lost 27 pounds. And guess what? I'm running it back. You know why?
Why?
Because the goal is not to look like this.
Yeah.
I didn't do 50 days of keto and go, oh, you're good. You're done with your diet.
Time to gain 20 back.
This is who I am now.
Yeah.
We're going to have to keep going. And I was going to do a pizza cheat meal and then start doing 50 days of keto again. And guess what? There's no pizza cheat meal.
Cheat meal is canceled.
Cheat meal is canceled until morale improves. So I'm doing 50. I did 50 days up, and now I'm going to do 50 days back and pull each Post-it off the wall all the way back to 1. Okay. I'm going to lose another 20 pounds. And then I'm going to frame the 1 of 50 just to remind myself what's possible.
Good for you, brother.
Feels good.
Proud of you.
Hey, but you can confirm I really did it.
Yeah. No, he's been doing great. I'm his guardian and caretaker, and I actually have power of attorney, too. So I might have to commit him if things don't go right, and he's on a short leash. No cheat meal.
I live in a house by myself.
Yeah, I'm a good guy. You notice who's paying all your bills? And they're all on auto pay. And
I got a job.
Yeah.
I got a YouTube channel.
Podcast. Yeah.
All right.
So
That's
keep it up,
pretty
buddy.
Good. Guys, I have a big announcement. I have 2 announcements. First, we had a song made for the show by someone named New Classics. And he made a song for the show, and it's so good. We're going to play it at the very end of the show. And we're going to sign off the show going forward with the song. You guys are going to love it. It's so catchy. It's so fun. It's the song of summer. I'll also link it in the description so you can watch it over and over and over. It's really good. Thank you to New Classics for doing that.
Okay.
All right, moving on to Cringe of the Week. Before we do, we have a quick message. A few months ago, I was telling you guys about cellular detox. We were talking about that. And we got a bunch of responses, like hundreds and hundreds of emails. The only thing I promoted was health@fleckistalks.com, message us. And, you know, that was a good idea at first, but we got so many messages. So if you guys are still looking for info on cellular detox, if you have autoimmune issues, hormone imbalance, if you're having trouble losing weight, you just don't feel right, you do need to attack the issues at a cellular level and detox the cell. So we partnered with the group that runs it, and they made us a website. So we have a website now. You guys can watch a webinar. It explains everything. It's linked in the description on the cellular health part. Go check that out. And if you emailed us, or if you still want more info, or if you're just interested for the first time and interested about getting your life back and healing yourself, the link is in the description. Go do that now. Oh, and I almost forgot, they also have a urine test that tells you how inflamed you are, and it measures your inflammation. I did it, and I was like 7 out of 7 inflamed. So check that out as well. That could be a good place to start. Linked in the description. Let's get to Cringe. All right. Cringe of the Week. We have a good amount of cringe to get to. Nothing crazy. We do have a double Urban Decay, so it's going to be more urban focused in these later parts of the show. Okay. But we do have some good cringe, some trans stuff to start. There's a new trans softball pitcher named Marissa, and he's killing everybody.
He pitched, I think, 14 shutout innings, and here's a little bit of the highlight tape.
And the pitch. Berger back in the 5th. Swing and a miss here first. 0-2 pitch. Struck.
Just killing him.
And it's right down the middle, too. It's not like there's movement or anything. It's kind of just like too fast, and you go down looking. And you're a girl, you're a nice girl, you're in high school, and you go down looking because there's probably 6'2" guy who's really skinny, though.
And keep in mind, the mound is closer in softball because it's girls, yes. But you're a guy, so you're like fast-pitch softball pitching a close mound. These girls can't swing at that.
And then a bunch of people, this has been sparking, there's a couple, the trans argument is a lot like the migrant. There's still migrant crime. There's still migrants doing misbehavior. Same thing with Trump. You'd think that the trans, all these states would have their funding withheld, but they're still doing it. And we have a couple more clips here. But that one was sparking a lot of debate online. People were like, oh my God, it's a man. And then the people on the pro men and women's sports side, which believe it or not, that is a side, people do argue it. They were saying, oh, well, this doesn't count. This is different because Marissa transitioned when they were 9 years old. And I'm like, what'd you say?
Oh, yeah? And who helped her do that? Where are her parents? And
Who's the mom?
And the doctor. Who's that? Oh, you guys? Okay. Why don't you go to
doctor?
this side. Go
Which
to
doctor? Go to this side. The sheriff's coming. He's going to arrest you. 9 years old? Are you kidding me?
Oh, 9. Oh, wow.
And then these people, they go, oh, they transitioned at 9 years old, so that means you could. And then it's like, 14 shutout innings in a row, like just killing everybody. The proof is in the result, It's not even hard. So they not only want men in women's sports, but they want to allow men to dominate women's sports.
Yeah, very true. And then next we have a track meet where the first and second place in the 400-meter dash in Washington went to two guys pretending to be girls.
There they are. Some fine young men.
Those are some strides.
I wonder, we often talk about how wrong it is and all that. I wonder if there's embarrassment. Are they at all ashamed and embarrassed, or do they kind of like justify it in their own mind that this is where I need to be? It's affirming that I'm here.
I think it's affirming. And look at the end. It's just these two guys like
stride for stride.
Stride for stride, one-on-one.
Yeah. Someone announcing this, and the guy, he's stride for stride right behind him.
The other guy. And we have to play the whole race. And then we do have a clip here, or we can fast forward to the end of the race.
Yeah, you get it. The guys are head and shoulders above the women.
Way ahead.
Shockingly.
And there was another track meet where a trans person won. And then look what happened at the end.
This is the same trans person we've covered a bunch of times who's doing the high jump, triple jump, all that shit.
We got our men now taking to the stage. In lane number 1 from North Taurus, 38.51 last week. Strong and
I love that.
Yeah.
The immediate, barely off, the man is barely off the first podium, hand still on, and she's stepping onto it to get a real picture.
We need men out of women's sports. Men shouldn't go in the bathroom with girls. There are only two genders.
Okay, thank you very much. You put a lot of effort into the script. You put a lot of effort into this, huh?
Hope this helps.
Yeah. Busy playing the stupid hand game before the show, huh?
I ordered that from Amazon. That's a write-off.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
That's why I collect all these fun things.
Yeah.
All right, next we have our working women section. And before we do the working women section, I know a lot of people who watch are women who work.
Yeah.
And we're not making fun of everybody. We're making fun of the two extremes today. We're going to talk about iBanking and what Sydney Sweeney's up to.
Okay.
So it's not all you guys. We love you guys. If you're a working woman and you're a show watcher, you have your head screwed on correctly. This is just slightly different.
We both have mothers who are working women.
Well, my mom used to work. She doesn't work now.
I know. We both had mothers who were
of course.
working women. There's
yeah.
women, in the workplace. Come on.
Yeah.
And
It grows the economy.
Well, but we can't completely endorse it. So you want to just get into this evening in the life working at an investment bank? This nice, cute young girl? $7:15, Uber's home. Arrives home at 7:35, 20-minute Uber. She is. 7:45, log on and start working. 9:30, shower and nighttime skincare. 9:50, continue working. 10:30, have a cup of tea. Milk in it. Real British. Real English. 10:45, turn comments on and continue, turn in comments and continue working. 11:45, working. 12:10, censors stuff out, logs off at 12:30, goes to bed at 1 a.m.
And does it all again. Keep in mind, calling it a night at 12:30. The Asian guy on the desk, he called a night at 4 a.m. He work all night.
Joseph Chen working himself into a heart problem.
Yeah, he sleep at the office and change his tie in the morning. No one knows. Eats the granola bar from the break room.
Yeah. You survive on corporate food.
So this is like a night in the life. It's not even all day at being in the office. This is just night when you're done with work. You're actually not done with work. Most people actually stay at the office. She gets no sun all day, and she's cooking her brain and her hormones with the blue lights from all the screens.
Okay.
She makes a good amount of money, and that's where the conversation happens. Oh, but she makes so much money. She probably makes $200K a year. After taxes, she makes $140K. And then when you consider that she probably pays $6K a month minimum for rent in New York City, that's minus $70K. So now you're making $40K. And is it worth cooking yourself in your best years for $45,000? And then some people might say, oh, but she'll get promoted one day. So in 8 years, after doing this for 8 years, she'll get promoted to MD and she'll maybe make $1 million N-word dollars.
Yeah.
And now
which is pretty nice.
Which is nice, but now you can't leave because you make $1 million N-word dollars. And how many kids did you have? As many as you would have. And then look back at your life and zoom out. What are you doing? Did you build a building? Did you carve a statue? Did you help people? Or did you provide materials for a random company you don't care about to go public? And oftentimes the work you do in this way isn't even used. Yeah. The older guy, the managing director gets it and goes, oh, yeah, thanks. We're going to go a different direction. They don't even use it.
Yeah, I scrapped that before the meeting with JPEG, you know?
Thought I told you.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do this.
Yeah. You were up all night for that? Oh, gee. Sorry.
So something to think about. You go on your deathbed, you're not going to really remember, oh, I helped Quizno's IPO in 2012.
And listen, we're not really being rude to this girl. It's an attractive, smart girl who is ambitious, right?
Yep.
She's doing she probably went to an elite school. We know a lot of people who worked in this industry too.
I worked in this industry.
And, you know, it's a path. It's a path. And this girl could easily find someone, marry someone, have kids, and live a certain type of life that is more joyful and isn't doing, 12:30 working nights.
Here, 11:45, continuing to work on materials.
But we do need to talk about it a little bit, right? That kind of life, and it's kind of a means to an end. You do that hard work and put in all the years, and then you get a cushy private equity gig that is at a family office or something, and then maybe that works out. But, there is something to be said about giving up your best years to corporate instead of truly bonding with your husband or whatever. And this girl can still do that. So we're not talking about her.
There's a redemption arc and she can still realize that and she could maybe do both. It's tough in New York because a lot of people think of their life the same way. They're not really focused on that kind of stuff. Can you read this tweet that I thought was interesting?
So, this guy said, it's women like this who are intelligent, conscientious, and attractive, i.e. women with superior genes, that should be reproducing the most, but who instead are spending their most fertile years creating spreadsheets. This is dysgenic at a massive scale.
Yep, and then can you read the more offensive 4chan post, please?
Sure. This is someone else's opinion. Finally, get a job. And this is reacting to the women in the workplace in general. Finally, get a job. Average of 7 to 8 Zoom meetings per day. Women to man ratio is at least 10 to 1. The economy isn't real. It's a Jew daycare to make sure women don't have children.
What did you say, Richard?
So that's the extreme version of it from some guy on 4chan who he would say.
But we show all kinds of opinions on the show. Of
course.
So, that's one route you can go. You can go the finance route in New York City. You can go be a boss babe and make money, but then make some sacrifices. Or on the other side, there's a more extreme version on the other side of the spectrum, what Sydney Sweeney's doing. Sydney Sweeney is selling 5,000 bars of soap that contain drops of her own bathwater in collaboration with whatever. I'm not going to say the company because I don't want you guys involving yourself. And then I found Richard Rappboy's search history on his computer.
Yeah, can you eat soap? Interest over time.
You were searching every day.
Every day.
100 times.
As soon as the Sydney Sweeney shit. Went up.
She's probably making millions of dollars from this while our farmers lose their land.
Yeah, while white farmers don't get their loans forgiven.
And people Google, can you eat the soap? And then the farmers are going to have to turn over their land.
Yeah.
And then someone posted this, Rosie's bathwater soap. Each bar contains 1 drop of rosy juice. That's funny.
Thank you, AI.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
what are our takeaways? What are our takeaways? You can't be given some of your best years to really, there's a mix, right? And that's kind of why men should be paying the dues and working those grueling hours and then being the breadwinner. Men can handle it. Women, you really shouldn't be. You're so young, cute.
And then men need to do it so good that the women don't feel like they have to do it.
Yeah, and then the tweet the guy said about it, where he said women like this who are intelligent, conscientious, and attractive, it's like those women, if they're paying attention to kids and raising children, do such a good job.
Yeah.
And raise hitters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and keep in mind too, if that girl quits, they're not going to say, "Oh no, Debbie quit. She's the only one who can do this. This company's fucked now."
Yeah.
She gets replaced by like that.
There's a replaceability
There's
factor.
thousands of people literally applying for her spot, which isn't even open. Like, she can get replaced in a second. So it's not even like, oh, well, I am so skilled and I'm the only one who can do this.
Yeah. I'm holding Goldman Sachs on my back. It's like, no, you're not. They're going to get another henchman in, and they stay till 4.
All right, our next and last clip of Cringe of the Week. This kid made a song about swimming with a shirt on. We're not making fun of him, but we do have some notes.
In a pool with all my friends, feet are hanging off the edge, diving in the deep end. They'll never know where my mind is. That all map outlines I've drawn in the waistband that I fought. Will I ever reach out of it? 'Cause I'm still swimming with a shirt on.
Swimming with a shirt on.
Swimming with a shirt on.
That's what the song's about. And believe it or not, guys, I was a fat kid, and I can actually relate to this. One time I went on vacation. I think I went to Jamaica. And on vacation, the first day, I got a really bad sunburn. So then the second day, I wore a shirt. And then I went in the pool, at the beach, on a water slide. And then I went down the water slide, and I got stuck on the slide because my shirt got caught, and I wasn't a smooth slide. And then some old guy goes, "Take your freaking shirt off," in front of everybody who were on the line at the water park. So I can talk on this. I have the negative experience of wearing the shirt and getting humiliated publicly, even though I wasn't wearing it to hide my fat body.
So let me get this straight. You do have a traumatic, bright memory in your head about wearing a t-shirt in the pool, but you didn't wear it because you were fat. It was only because of sunburn.
Exactly. It's stolen valor the other way.
You were a fat kid.
I were a fat kid who went with no shirt the first day of vacation and got badly burned on my back.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I can talk on this subject. What the kid is avoiding is accountability for the pigging. When the shirt comes off, everyone sees how much you've been pigging the last year, and it's embarrassing, right? But the food is his way to cope with some issues he's dealing with.
Okay.
And that's why he's fat and he gained the weight, and there is a solution to that. The solution to that is not going the sympathy route where you try to make everyone feel bad for you and you feel bad for yourself, and then you wait for the whole world to not think fat people are fat anymore. That's kind of like the temptation of like, well, people need to be nice and things need to change. So
I need to write an emotional song about wearing my shirt.
And it's like, you're not going to ever change the world where you feel good about where you are at right now. And instead, you should channel that energy that you put into a song into maybe doing some push-ups or maybe eating one meal a day.
Yeah.
Because the correct thing to do would be improve yourself until you feel better about yourself, and then you don't have to wear a shirt in the pool, and that'll actually feel great. You're not going to ever be comfortable wearing a shirt in the pool because everyone's so loving and whatever now.
Yeah.
So, and there's other routes you can go to. You can go the DJ Khaled route, where you just become the best at something and so successful, and then like you being fat is funny and you do whatever you want, and you go on a jet ski and
freezer full of ice cream.
You play golf, you have a freezer full of ice cream.
You're loud at the golf course. You're actually annoying the people.
And you go in the sauna and you're like a slob and your gut's hanging out, and you take your shirt off and it's funny, not, oh, DJ Khaled's fat, he's got some issues. Or you go a different route and you just lose weight and you improve yourself and then you feel better long term, which obviously is the right way. The way he's doing it now by making the song, you get a lot of like fat ladies in the comments like, oh no, you have nothing to worry about.
I've had body shame for years and I never worked out either. And that's great that you wrote a song.
Yeah, that's not going to ever make you feel better, and it's never going to be true. You are a child of God. You're made in the image of God. And it's like on you to close the gap between where you are and what your potential could be, and then fulfill your destiny that God has for you.
Yeah. And I feel like this cringe has been a little different. We're not really trying to be mean to anyone. These are just like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Don't write the song. Do the push-ups.
Yeah.
Don't waste your best years working for a fucking investment bank that's going to go under in the next financial crisis.
It's already going
God
like
forbid.
this.
Yeah, Merrill Lynch. How many people gave their best years to one of the banks that went under? Solomon Brothers. How many people put in the time at Solomon just to go, it's gone?
The brothers left.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's the end of Cringe. We're now moving on to Urban Decay. All right, our first clip of Urban Decay. I don't have much to say about it, but I just wanted to show you guys. It's very sad. This criminal punches an old lady with brass knuckles.
Video released from the Lakewood Sheriff's Station showing the moment an elderly woman is attacked while walking down the street in the middle of the afternoon, falling hard on the ground as her purse is snatched from her hands.
From what we understand from the daughter, he had brass knuckles, so he socked her before pulling her purse away from her.
This neighbor says her cameras caught another angle. The suspect following the woman, said to be in her 80s, before the attack, and then running away, purse in hand.
He totally surprised.
Hate these neighbors.
These neighbors, they're not good. An 85-year-old woman, she ended up getting like 16 stitches, spent a week in the hospital. So the elder abuse, you know, whereas most people in society think of an elderly person as like beyond, like you help them cross the street, you hold the door open it sucks. You waste a lot of time. You hold it open, they go through slowly. Instead, a certain demographic of people sees them as a mark to steal. Do you guys know how much money old ladies have in their purses? So you're
coin purse too.
You're hospitalizing someone for a maybe, and this kid, they can't release his name. He's a juvenile. Can't release his name. He victimized an 85-year-old woman. And look at the streets here. The American flag on that second camera angle. That's Americana.
Americana.
What's that young kid doing there? Robbing elderly people, right?
Yeah, and then the brass knuckles. I have a pair. If I went like this, it hurts.
Yeah.
Punching an old lady, her life, unfortunately, is probably going to come to an end soon from this incident.
Maybe. I think
Hopefully
she's
not.
recovering. And then, you put stitches in an old lady. You know old lady skin? It's like paper. It's like wet paper. You can barely stitch it back up. So, unironic, death penalty.
Yep, I agree, even though he's a juvenile.
Yep.
All right.
The juvenile thing, who does the juvenile... We got to take a step back and look at that juvenile thing. Who does that protect? It's like supposed to protect the kid. And it's like we got a brutally violent, totally incapable of decision-making person who, he's a year or two away from being an adult, so now the society at large has no vested interest in knowing who's attacking 85-year-olds out there. You know what I mean? We need to kind of recalibrate who it's for and who the justice system's for. Because protecting him versus protecting people who might need to know this guy who assaulted an 85-year-old woman for $25 and a coin purse, we got to reevaluate our priorities here.
Definitely. All right, next we have a black woman fight at Texas Roadhouse. Swarmed by Texas Roadhouse employees.
Shout out to the Texas Roadhouse employees. They go hands-on.
Yeah, and then it's Texas Roadhouse. You get in a fight at a saloon in Texas.
Yeah.
That's Americana too. Yeah, a lot going on. Wigs ripped off. Punches thrown. A lot of ladies break it up. But there is something deeper to this. So we're going to go back to the beginning here. The kid in the background with the dad trying to protect him.
Yeah, the white father and the young kid, probably 6, 7, getting his first experience with black fighting. Mm-hmm. And, that leaves an imprint. And dad's got to protect him. He gets up. He gets the kid out of there. But at a restaurant? Daddy, what are they doing at the restaurant?
Oh, they're fighting over the last roll that you get for free.
Yeah. And so we're going to get to more about the father and son interaction. But one of the things that me and Fleckus were talking about is, a lot of these fights, you see them on camera and it starts mid-fight, right? So you see, because nobody's like, oh, there might be a fight at Texas Roadhouse. Nobody even thinks that. So you get it like on the 4th or 5th punch, and then you see half the fight, and then you see it broken up. And I think that's a disservice. We see body cam footage of an entire incident sometimes, And I think it would be even more radicalizing if you realized how stupid the origins of the fight were.
Always.
You know what I mean? Like, what could you possibly be on-sighting someone at Texas Roadhouse and pulling out her weave for? Embarrassing yourself, embarrassing her, whoever started the fight. And yeah, what sort of stupid reason? You ate the last roll. I needed that cinnamon butter.
You did a wire fraud and stole $150,000 from me.
That Chase money glitch didn't work.
It wasn't that.
So I think that it would possibly radicalize people even more and make the judgment even worse if they had known what stupid, petty reason led to the fist fight at Texas Roadhouse, a family restaurant.
Good point. And also keep in mind, these days, everyone says that like kids are racist because they're taught racism from their parents, or there's internalized racism that they're born with.
Yeah.
The kid is going to, see some stereotypes and believe them, I think, going forward, and that's not his fault.
Is it stereotypes and then he's a racist, or did he kind of notice a pattern? And then by the time he's 12, he's seen a lot, And this is a 6-7-year-old kid out with his dad trying to have a nice night. Dad takes you out for steak. That's fun. And
ruined it.
All of a sudden, he gets something imprinted on his mind. This type of kid wanted to be playing dinosaurs. He wanted to talk about the baseball game that him and Dad are going to next week. But then all of a sudden, Dad, why are these people fighting? I thought they were the same as us. I thought everything was the same and everyone was equal.
No, son.
You see a couple too many fights. And then whose fault is it for someone's worldview long term?
Exactly. All right, moving on. Our next clip is about a kid at school who was attacked, and listen to why he says he was attacked by a black student.
This black kid, which was DeMarcus, his name was that, he choked me because his mom did not like any white people.
Really? Did he say that before he choked you?
No, he said that after he choked me.
Like right after?
So I did not know.
Did your teacher do anything to him about that?
She only clipped him down.
Huh?
So that's what other kids are doing. And, everyone's focused on white kids and their internalized racism and their dispositions and how they view things. But the black kids are allowed to be racist and act on it and violent.
Yeah, and the context around this is the school didn't notify the parents that anything happened. They had to hear this from the kid that he was basically attacked because of racial motivation from the kid's militant black mom. And then some people would see this video and say the problem is the kid said he was a black kid, DeMarcus.
Yeah.
And this is another example of kids at an early age learning I don't see race, but race sees you sometimes. And sometimes two black ladies duke it out at Texas Roadhouse over the last cinnamon roll, So these things, they happen at a very young age, and I think it's hard to keep someone sheltered. This kid goes to a public school. I'd be working on getting that kid away from DeMarcus. I'd be meeting with the principal next week to say, hey, how can we get out of DeMarcus's class?
Yeah.
He choked my son for being white, and nobody told me.
And like you said, the kids are exposed to this and they can't shelter them from it, but then they're trying to reverse shelter them from it, where it's like, oh, don't be worried about anybody. Everyone's the exact same. And it's like, that's a reverse, that's a backwards and upside down. Yeah. Not everyone is the same. And not only that, the people you're promoting as the safest or the best are actually the most violent.
And they're actually mad at you. They're the most violent. They're now racially aware and they're mad at you because their fat single mom was telling them how much they hate white people, right?
And Memetic Sisyphus was talking about this on Twitter, and he made some great points. Can you read the original and then his reply?
Yeah, this is kind of unrelated but related. On a recent podcast, some people were talking about how conservatives lost their shit over the "if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon" line, which Barack Obama did, one of his early kind of race baitings. Trayvon Martin was famously walking around up to no good, got into it with George Zimmerman, smashed his head into the ground, all that. George Zimmerman shot him. Obama stirred the pot. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. I can relate to the criminal kid, right? It was one of the earlier race baits. And then somebody, a leftist type, tweeted, I think part of this lack of understanding about, white conservatives has to be white parents never having this fear about their kids. Black people and parents in particular live in a different America, And that's uncomfy for white people to think about. So, they live in a different America. There's things that only affect black kids that couldn't affect white kids. Mimetic Sisyphus had a good point that he said, because we've shown the statistics. We know what they are. We got our own fears. And as a certain type of person, I'm not looking over my shoulder at the ATM at night for Nazis. Mimetic Sisyphus says, white children have more to fear from interracial violence than black children. I promise you, we talk about this. It's on our minds. We modify our behavior to avoid it. We move cities so our children won't be exposed to it. Your white liberal friends will never say it to your face, but they will tell you what neighborhoods you should avoid when visiting their city.
Exactly.
Yeah, we plan for it too, guys. And we have the, when two white people lock eyes, when the two black women are fighting at Texas Roadhouse, and they go, it's the can you believe this eyes, not them again eyes.
Yeah.
We think about it, we talk about it, and we're preparing for it, right?
And we have another example, another fight in a restaurant with some black ladies.
I think this is like a college cafeteria. This is a woman coming up.
We got to dine.
Jordan 11.
So the girl beats up that guy.
Have you played the audio on that alone? Ask someone to guess what it was?
I'd say it was some sort of exhibit at a zoo.
Me too.
And keep in mind, we do have a stat here. Fun fact, black women are more likely to commit murder than white men. Black women have a higher murder rate per capita than white and Asian men combined in America.
Yeah. Absolutely nuts.
Absolutely nuts.
And, shout out to Asian men for making that possible.
Yeah.
They're so small.
So it's more powerful to say combined.
Combine 'em.
Asian, you guys aren't really doing
If it was
like
2x white men, I don't think we would, right? Yeah, 2x white men, we'd be above. But Asian men, they're so nice. They keep it 100.
Not when you steal the snails.
Not when you steal the snails, though.
But you're not murderous. You're not murderous people. So there is hope for you.
Yeah.
And then-
Sea life. Not murderous, but sea life.
Yeah. Sea life feels different.
Sea life gets gone.
The black people don't eat it. Don't kill the snails.
Yeah. Well, but they do. They will eat the crabs if they get the economic stimulus to do so.
That's true. That is true.
Everyone's got their weaknesses.
And then a lot of people, when they hear stats like that, they'll say, oh, it's not about race. It's about men. Men are the problem. Men are the murderers. They're the ones doing violence. And then you do that same application. Can you read that?
Well, it's just, this isn't a race issue. It's a male issue. And the person says the same point we just made. Black females commit more murders per capita than white men. It's a race issue.
So it seems like it is.
And then while we're here, I'd be dismayed if I didn't point out the Hispanic people ticking up. We're watching you.
Yeah,
you're on the rise. We're watching you.
You're on the watch list, Hispanics.
And then there's, you're second in command on per capita, and then you're a growing population. So keep it chill.
Yep,
keep it chill.
All right, let's move on to another story that involves some statistics. 2 charged in Laconia gunfight. This is a town in New Hampshire that is 96.79% white, 0.99% Hispanic, 0.73% Asian, 0.55% black. And I guess we have the numbers here. There's 8 black people in the whole town.
Yeah. So 2 charged in Laconia gunfight. You see black man 1, black man 2.
So there's 8 black people total in the town, and 2 of them managed to shoot each other.
So that's 25% of the black population of Laconia involved in a gunfight. And then there's probably one who's like a 6-year-old kid, another guy who's 80.
Yeah.
So they're ruled out basically already on who's the
all of the
gunfight.
black men in Laconia got into a gunfight last night.
Yeah, and that was kind of an old story, but we just saw that go viral again and thought we had to.
While we're talking about stats.
Yeah.
And next, while we're talking about cities and how bad they are and the harsh realities of them, Mimetic Sisyphus had a great exchange again while talking about St. Louis, where he's from.
Yeah, and I think this was from
It's a congressperson.
or a state rep, some sort of or a city council member, some sort of low-level actual elected official in the St. Louis area. And he said, I think Mimetic Sisyphus was talking about how bad the crime had gotten and how young families were moving out and all that. And, the general flight from the St. Louis area to a more rural zone where he now lives. And then this guy said, don't let the door hit you, dismissing him because he's right wing and he has no reason. He's right wing for no reason, and it happened in a vacuum, and he was just a mean guy. And so, an elected official saying, don't let the door hit you, a little weird. Mehmet Sisyphus said, yes, this is the real problem of St. Louis. I was born and raised there. I became a physicist and a high earner. I'm married to a medical doctor, and I left because of the crime. That's bad enough, but here we have a local St. Louis politician glad to have a citizen like me leave rather than address the crime problem. So he kind of cooked him, dunked on him.
Dunked him.
There goes your tax base, brother. Hope the hipsters do something. They won't. And then the guy responded and said, what purpose does it serve to use your platform to shit all over a city you don't live in? Do you think affecting people's perceptions of crime in St. Louis helps address actual crime issues? And then Mehmet Sisyphus said, what purpose does it serve to use your platform to celebrate the brain drain and tax revenue loss due to crime? Do you think ignoring people's perceptions of crime in St. Louis helps address the actual crime issues? And this guy went on. I watched the argument happen in real time, and the guy was like calling him a weirdo and kind of just like dancing around, not addressing anything. And it's so strange watching people not address like watching a city in decay. Like St. Louis, it's like number 2 on all the lists for most violent cities. And the guy's like, psh, right winger, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
As if he's not like a dual income kid having household that would make the city a better place if the city was run correctly.
So true.
So,
And like we mentioned before, everyone lives in delusions and need to live in fairy tale land where everyone's the same and no one's disproportionately doing anything. And not only that, Don Lemon lives in that world and actually the opposite, where he thinks the white people are the ones who should be in trouble.
Remember he had the Muslim ban?
Yes.
And I said, well, why isn't anybody trying to ban white guys from this country? And you would have thought that I had, cut off, a left, or I had taken their firstborn kid or whatever for telling the truth and what the statistics were showing with the FBI data. Why do you think that these white dudes, these white guys are so triggered? Why are they such snowflakes and they claim other people are?
Yeah.
That's
Thank you,
pretty
Don.
good. The FBI statistics, it's Don per capita, buddy.
Yeah. And actually,
it's almost getting to the point where it's not even per capita anymore.
Mhm.
It's like,
no, it's absolute value.
It's like now it's still like, oh, black people do more crime. And it's actually the numbers higher than white people, even though they're only 30% of the population.
Yeah, I think the only thing white people do at a higher than per capita is like white collar crime. And there was one other. And then also a lot of references to these kind of like alt-right violent crimes or whatever. I saw actually Mehmet Sisyphus, we're talking about him a lot. I saw him, he was debunking some sort of chart that showed all this right-wing and white power type crime. And basically the numbers were completely cooked and it was so dishonest because a vast majority of it was white prison gang violence, which they count as white extremism, but none of the other ethnic gangs count towards their race having that sort of thing. So like if you killed a snitch in the white power gang, prison gang, then that would count as like alt-right terror or whatever. So, and then Don Lemon, how they're banning white guys. Don Lemon, he has a twink husband.
Yeah, he's got to ban his gay husband.
Look at those 2 dogs. This is the gay dream.
Yeah, they
2
fuck
dogs.
like crazy.
They go nuts. They're having a good Pride Month.
Meet me in the bathroom now. All right, we're in our last section. We're gonna just play one clip from it. It's a bad grad. It's the guy we mentioned in the intro. This guy, he says 400 absences, 6 failed classes, still graduating. Anyone can do it. Wow. And we have pictures of him with his boys. We have pictures of him flexing a bracelet, a tennis bracelet. So we got a little gift. And we actually pulled up his grades. Can you read some of his grades?
Yeah, he got an F in English, 23%. He got an F in a math class, 21%. I think SPN 2, Spanish 2, 2.5% he got.
So he knows a little bit of Spanish.
I think he knows hola. Like one word, 2.5%.
2.5% means that you got one question right the whole year.
Yeah. So, and then this guy like posted his diploma. I don't know. We're taking him at his word, but this is kind of like who is getting graduated, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess we ran out of time. We were going to do more, but.
Want to play the worst mom ever?
Nah. Let's leave it.
All right, we'll play it in bonus land. All right, we're now moving on to uplifting gold. Don't get too down or too depressed. We have a lot of good uplifting stuff today.
Okay, do we?
I think so.
Okay.
First things first, this guy's handing out memes on the train to people. And fast forward to the end, please. Just when he looks back, and everyone's got one, and he walks off the bus. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Memes are taking a turn into physical reality now. People are trying to bring them off your phone and into the real world, I guess.
Yeah. And then next we have wire swing fun. These guys attached a wire to like a thing at a playground.
Gotta hit this swing live. Here we go. Here we go. Which way? Oh, I'm already in the air. Holy fuck. Damn! Oh my god, bro. Okay, start slowing down.
Okay, chill, you're gonna hit the tree. Chill.
And then that's it. They don't get hurt. They don't crash. Or he crashes a little bit and everyone's okay. It was just fun.
Okay, good for them.
And no one got hurt, and it was a high-stakes little fun thing.
Okay, thank you. Very uplifting.
It's uplifting to see kids doing mischievous things that aren't actually destructive in society.
That don't end with a compound fracture in our adult injury section. Yeah.
Yeah, you have fun.
I agree.
All right, there's a new sport I didn't know about. These whip each other sport.
That guy let him get like 3 unanswered. All right, little gay here. This a Pride Month thing? Is this June?
That's pretty cool. All right. It's a whip fight.
Okay.
I don't know how you win.
Yeah.
That's bad. Would you rather do that or slap box?
That, because slapbox you can get a concussion and like really have brain damage almost.
And you go like this.
You get enough head hits over the course of your life, you're fucked. The whips, it's like skin damage, right?
Good point. Smart guy.
People who do slap boxing or slap whatever, they're retarded.
Yeah.
They're like risking their brain. Like they'll be Muhammad Ali Parkinson's guy if they do it enough.
It's their only way out.
Yeah.
So we've got to slap our way out of this trailer park.
Dana White's kind of a sick fuck for that.
Let him cook. All right, next is a horse who plays piano.
He likes it.
I got you. Oh, she's having a good time.
He knows he's doing it.
I know. He likes it. He's smart. Animals are smart. I like that.
That's good. All right, real uplifting stuff. Kids catch a big fish.
That boy. I can see that boy. He's coming. Dang, he's
Grab the line, Chip.
Hurry. I can't reach it. Oh, God. Oh! Bruh.
That's why Dad has to get the net.
Yeah.
Dad's filming. Get one of the kids to film.
The most crucial point is the very end. You don't, unless you got...
He could have had him, too.
Yeah, you could grab his mouth.
He
right
hesitated.
there.
Yeah.
But
that's a giant...
That's a lot of torque, and that line's not very strong. I got broken off on a snook the other day. Yeah. Same way. I jumped in the water.
Snook have that gill plate. That was the same way? Like up like that? Or
no, I was in the water and I was holding it up, and he got his last bit of energy when he saw me trying to grab him and snapped me off.
Gotcha. Hey, that means it worked for him. His last bit of energy when he saw you, freaked out, worked.
Yep, smart guy.
That's why you always fight that extra leg.
All right, next we have kids who get separated for the first time. They're twins sleeping in separate beds for the first time. And they're sad.
They're hugging each other.
They
miss each other.
And that's sad. And they're,
good for them.
They know they're buddies.
They like it.
They're good friends.
They're laughing. They're having fun.
All right. That was uplifting. There's some uplifting in there.
Yeah, it was.
All right, let's get to some shout-outs.
Called the phone it in section for a reason.
Whatever. It's late in the show. It's almost Friday. Happy birthday.
It's the polar opposite of Almost Friday.
Yeah.
It's the other episode.
It's true. Okay, we have some shout outs. Happy birthday to Mary Kate on May 30th.
Happy birthday,
Her and
Mary
Brendan are big show watchers and bonus landers, and they invited us to their wedding.
Oh, I won't be able to make it.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you when it was.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
And then congrats to Allie and David. They got engaged. They drive their car a lot, and they listen to the show while they drive.
Congratulations, guys.
Congrats on getting engaged. That's huge. And like I mentioned in the beginning, guys, it's a very special day. We have a new Fleckus Show song made by New Classics. It's fantastic. We're going to put it at the end of every show going forward, and we want it to be the song of summer. So if you guys like it, dance to it, tag us, whatever, and you can watch the full thing in the description, but it'll always be at the end of the episode. We'll let that play to take us out. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you want 30 minutes of more show, join Bonus Land. Let's play the Fleckus Talks anthem.
This uplifting gold and Fleckus pets getting trolled. Coming up to brighten your day. The only way the show